Hello everyone, thank you so much for joining us on Joy Asonye Live here on KAFTAN Television. It's wonderful to have you. I'm sure you had a wonderful weekend. Well, every year on the 12th of August, the United Nations celebrates the International Youth Day, a day set aside to create awareness on the challenges that youth internationally face. This year, the theme was creating sustainable green skills for youths, talking about green skills. What are green skills? Do Nigerian youth even understand what these are, and how can they harness the potentials in this sector? That's what we'll be discussing. And to do justice to that, we have in the studio Comrade Alamboye, a regular here on Joy Asonye Live and on KAFTAN, really. He is the President's Green Assembly Initiative and the former National Secretary of the Nigerian Youth Organization. It's fantastic to have you join us.
Thank you very much, Joy.
You look suited today. Is it still in celebration of the International Youth Day celebration?
Yeah, we're still in the mood from now till the week. We are still
right.
In celebration, of course. Yeah.
In the studio here also is Mr. Igweshi Augustine. He's the Executive Director of Center for Peace Advocacy and Sustainable Development. Welcome to the studio.
Thank you, Joy.
It's wonderful to have you as well.
Thank you.
Okay, at this point, we'll go for a very short break and return to talk about green skills for Nigerian youths. Is that relatable to us? Is there something to harness in there? Do we understand what green skills rather are? We'll be right back. Welcome back from that. Green skills for youth towards a sustainable world. I'll just start with Comrade Alamboye. Do you think the Nigerian youths are looking towards the green skills at the moment? I need you to, in your response, look at the economic challenges we already are facing in Nigeria. Do you think if you have to pull a solution for them, the challenges are relatable to the United Nations theme for 2023, green skills for youth towards a sustainable world?
Well, in this ab initio, that would have been rather a solution to economic growth. But in Nigeria or in Africa today, the case is, the other way around. When we talk about green skills, we want to thank the UN to appreciate green skills. We want to thank the UN to appreciate youths moving away from professionalism into sustainable handiworks and skills that can enhance or support a particular system to have its effects. And this is one thing, basically in Africa, we lack that in Africa. Everybody wants to be in the university, go to the university. Everybody wants to have professional skills, how will I call it? Professionals. Everybody wants to be professionals in
to be a lawyer, an architect, and a doctor.
So governments have not really had a deliberate policy to ensure that even if at the time, while we're growing, we saw our parents attended even schools handiwork schools that helped them seem like they've schooled. They didn't really school, but these little skills they went into.
Yeah, they were technical schools.
Yeah, technical schools, and there's one other one I tend to forget: technical schools and commercial schools. Exactly. So these things gave rise to trade in those days. These technical schools gave rise to technical abilities. You're not really trained as a technician for vehicle, but you can attempt to repair basic repairs about vehicles and bicycles. We have bicycle repairers. We had football. Even this football that we play, we have people that patch them. So this is what the United States really hammering on. These days, what we see is, once you have something that is expired or that is bad, you throw it away. No skill. Nobody is getting ready to have skills to refine things.
Reuse,
recycle things. Let's take a look at even the oil and gas sector. There are so many skills there to go through. The argon welding, the somebody that can swimming that you even know how to swim can have you access a job. You know, like so many, we can mention all of that. The degradation, iSense jobs, how to treat iSense and water pollution. All these are skills that the United States this year have come out to say, look, United Nations have come out to say, look, youths in the world should begin to move away from being, how would I call it, being professional, to acquiring skills that actually today, if you look at the way the world is revolving, these skills are the helping skills that revolve around, revolve around the economy and sustains the economy. We are moving away from where people domicile themselves in a particular job. You see, everything is now being done in a transparent and more easier form, where 2-3 persons can pick up a job before you know they've come up with something holistic. So I think it's a kind gesture. And back to our country, where you've asked it, it's a pity that we've not been able to embrace this aspect of life. The government or local governments down to states, down to federal government level, they've not even really articulated what to do for the Nigerian youths. We see youths participate only in politics, and afterwards everybody goes back. We see lots of appointments from other sectors, and when this appointment comes and it's time to give back to the economy, you see projects you see are so amazing. We do not have those days that we used to have skill acquisition programs that will even take you to the sponsorship level. We no more have all of this, and it's disheartening, and we think this is the right way. What the United Nations is preaching is the right way. The Nigerian government should pick up this instrument and ensure that when the ministers are given portfolio, we want to see the minister of youth that is quite different from other ministers of youth, that to ensure that youths are self-sufficient, youths are self-employed, and it's only through making them acquiring these green skills that we can ensure that this is going to be positive and drive the economy into positivity.
Okay, let me take this question to you, Mr. Augustine. What do you think? Do you think the theme for the 2023 celebration of the International Youth Day is indeed relatable to the Nigerian situation? Are there green jobs that are viable for Nigerian youth?
Okay, thank you, Joy. You know, like you said earlier, every 12th of August is the day the United Nations set aside to celebrate young people, to raise awareness about issues that affect them, and also look at how government agencies and other bodies can come together to, you know, support youth in their journey. Green skills towards a sustainable world is this year's theme, and over time, things has been revolving around greener environment, greener economy, greener ecosystem. So everything is revolving around moving away from fossil fuel into a greener environment where people can begin to, you know, see we are no longer in a situation where we begin to have fossil fuel. We are bringing greener energy into the system. So in Nigeria, the youth still lack basic skills in terms of, you know, getting involved in greener jobs, in greener economy, and all of that. So I think more, like I wrote in one of the, what I published in the Youth Day on green skill towards a sustainable world. I look at green environment, I look at empowering youth to ensure that they have the basic skills to, you know, have the to contribute to greener environment. So it's actually applicable to Nigeria, but we need more empowered youth to be able to take up greener job, to be able to contribute to greener environment. So United Nations is actually looking at how young people can be empowered, how young people can be, you know, build the competence to be able to contribute to a greener society. COP28 is coming up. Everybody they are
gearing
working
up for
towards that. And other energy, other summit is coming up along the way. Even the United Nations Youth Envoy, they are looking at how young people can contribute to that COP28. And that COP28 is actually looking at how our world can become greener. And young people building skills and competence around these issues will help them gain more skill. Like making our environment greener, young people need to build skill on recycling. Build skills on recycling, build skill on energy, moving away from fossil fuel and developing greener energy by themselves, solar system and all of that. With these skills, young people build confidence in them. We see that what the United Nations have said this year will come to realization. I believe that our youth need to build more competence. Our government need to provide more opportunity for them to build competence, to empower them with the skills to contribute to a greener society towards achieving a greener world.
Okay, well, I think that does it for that question, but I will come back to you, Comrade Duke Alamboye. Can you share any specific initiative or, I mean, programs that you think the government has even put forward? Do the Nigerian government even understand what green skills are? And have there been any programs or initiatives that you are aware of? I mean, you work within the youth advocacy space.
Yes, I think the past Minister of Youth and Sports, that's Honorable Dare, tried his best, but his concentration was on ICT at the time, you know. His expansion on Nigerian youth being sufficiently adequate in the ICT skills. So these are his concentration. It didn't really push into the greener revolution that the world is actually looking at. And today we have a new government, and very fortunately for us, we are discussing this. We pray that if they would see this as an opportunity to lash in what the world is talking about. We want to see a minister, we want to see governments that will project the youth towards greener evolution, other than, you know, this old ancient ways of doing things. Like he rightly said, the world is moving away and trying to ease the ways and lives of sustainability. So Nigerians, as the ministers are coming on board, we want to see a minister that is more youth oriented. We want to see more information going out to even reach the entire youths in the country on why we should move from the more normal practice to greener revolutions, making ourselves compatible and accessible to these skills. We need more awareness. The first stage is even awareness. It's like rightly asked, our government even aware that this is the way to go? Solar system has existed a long time ago, but you can see that today in Nigeria, how many youths can really put up a solar system, couple a solar system for usage? How many youths that even knows that the world is talking about greener process? No more greener skills, no more old ways of doing things, and so that sustainability is for the economy is assured. So I think the first stage is government must even touch themselves to know, are they really properly prepared to even grow the youth populace in the country? If the question is yes, at what direction? So I think we will be coming up with lots of challenges on government to ensure that they tow this way. Like I said, it's a pity that we've not gotten a minister. The minister would have understood what the international body is talking about, moving youth direction to greener skills. So it's going to be difficult. A minister will soon come soon, and we want to see how we can rub minds with him to see where they can deliberately pursue these efforts. To see that state by state, we need state collaboration, we need LGA collaborations, and most of these skills acquisition is even very eminent and possible at the local level,
especially rural areas.
Especially rural areas. That is where we can see you can really get youths that can really affect this cause. So I think the first thing is the awareness stage. The second thing is deliberately funding youth, like you rightly said, the ability to fund youth to ensure that they are in tandem with what is going on as regards to achieving or acquiring green skills. So it's a huge project, and I can tell you that if we have a government that is very sensitive to it, that can pick up this process, in 4 or 5 years, we will see Nigerians revolving towards greener skills acquisitions, and Nigeria will go green. And when Nigeria go green, so you know what that means. Easy ways of doing things, easy manpower inputs, easy effective and more proficient production level, and you can name all of them.
Okay, I think I would like you to respond to that as well. I mean, does the government understand that this is putting in mind that, especially when we talk about green skills, some of it is waste compartmentalization, and we don't see that. Government is in charge of waste disposal, for instance, and they just take everything together and dispose it in one big dump. And sometimes they even burn, which is fostering this environmental degradation we're talking about. Is our government even aware of what the green skills are and the potentials in them?
I think the government are aware. They have Ministry of Environment. Ministry of Environment are saddled with those responsibility, and each state has a Ministry of Environment. Some have commissioners of environment as well. Some of these people, some of the youth engage with those ministries. Some of these government agencies attend international forum, took part in international forum.
Have treaties
even?
Yes,
they have signed different treaties, different protocols, and different agreements to contribute to a greener society, to a greener world. But most thing is that implementation. If you look at there are a lot of documents that can show a greener society, can show a greener Nigeria. But the problem has been in implementation of those documents. They are there, but the political will and the ability to see how this document can be implemented is what is lacking. Sometimes corruption have to make people, when they give money to implement something, it will not get to where it's supposed to be implemented. So for me, I believe that government is aware. If they are not aware, young people, especially young climate change activists, environmentalists, all of them have been pushing. I know a lot of awareness have been created around environment. I have friends that are environmentalists, friends that are climate change activists, those pushing, advocating for a greener society and a green. Some of them have acquired skills. Some of them can recycle. Some of them, one of my friends, organized a program in this Abuja where he trained women turning tires into reusable, very comfortable seats.
Wow.
Yes, if you look at how they have designed old tires, earlier before, when you get an old tire, you burn it. I contribute to environmental issues. But right now, young people have built skill and transferring those skills to other women and other youth. So the knowledge is there, but the ability to implement or empower more people and give room for it to scale up and expand it is the challenge. So I would urge the Ministry of Environment. I know they are aware of that because they have been part of the process. They are aware. They should be able to empower more youth, create awareness, spread the news. By this, I think we'll begin to achieve the objective of moving to a greener society and a greener Nigeria. Okay,
so Comrade Duke, do you think that because the ball seems to be on the bulk of it is on the hands of Nigerian youths themselves and NGOs and community-based organizations as well? I'm putting government aside here. So do you think that there's we have enough advocates? Because when we talk about greener skills, when we talk about going green, sustainable world, climate change, and the many steps we can take, it seems like an international concept. So I don't think Nigerians have actually absorbed the need to make steps. So who do you think we should empower so that we see more activism and amplified voices when we talk about a sustainable world?
Well, the advocacy is key. Like I kept emphasizing, the advocacy for greener skills is key. So many people do not know even what the greener skills is, its importance, its role in economic sustenance. So I think the advocacy is key here. Like you rightly asked, how many civil society organizations are in such advocacy? Have we even heard the National Orientation Commission or whatever do anything on that? Have we also heard even the Minister of Environment? They've never done such things. So I think it's until they pick up the instrument, because that is where it begins. They pick up the instrument to say deliberately that they want to ensure that our youths are impacted in that at that level, without being corrupt, without being sentimental about the process. It is until when that is being glaringly in the society, in the economy, that the youths will also see. If you come to the ICT angle of youth empowerment, so many youths have done very fantastically very well.
That's true.
And that is because the awareness came. That's because everybody could access the facility at the time, and everybody wants to do one thing or the other. You see people now selling things online. You see people doing ICT with a lot of things, and is working. Even what do they call it? This what they call this people that give you money on the way. These are skills that ICT has brought to being. So I think if more emphasis and more orientation, organizations should open up. COCC, civil societies organizations should come up, own this system, and then begin to push. It's not supposed to be left in the hands of government alone, but they are the propelling force. But if we also put hands together to say, look, the world is going greener, and what we want our youth to begin to acquire is the green skills, and begin to advocate for it, to give concerns to government, and they also want to see what are the effects and efficiency of green skills. And this is the right way to go. Oil and gas company, IOCs, the countries must invest in green skills, because most activities that goes around pollution is within their range. How can we reprocess their waste products into useful, something innovative,
useful, innovative.
This is what green skills is preaching. So until everybody else is on decks to ensure that, look, this is what the world is looking at. This is what I can sustain a youth, because oil production in our country will not end. Spillages today in Nigeria, if not recently, gas is being flared, whereas it can be used into so many other products that we cannot overemphasize here. There are so many things that just goes off like that. We don't know. Cellophane bags can be, like you rightly mentioned now, tires. In those days they burn tires, but we can do research, we can do lots of advocacy to know what we can get, instead of disposing those things to even cause more issues to the economy or to the environment. How we can turn them using green skills to propel the economy. Okay,
before we go for a break, I would just like you to quickly address the fact, is it viable? You just mentioned the many people who walk around these green skills, getting innovative ways to turn things around, reuse, recycle, and the many other things you can do. However, is it viable? Is it something Nigerians can survive on?
Well, it's something new, and I could say that. So it's something, as time goes on, people get to be more connected with it. I become more viable, but now it's still growing. I believe with more time, people will get to go into it, and once something becomes a competition, people try to attach more value to it, and it becomes. So one of my friends wrote something about, in Nigeria, when you pick a bottle, like when you drink a bottle of Coke, the can one, you throw it. But when all these women that pick them, so that's how they measure it. Now, when they measure it, I think they buy, I've forgotten the particular amount they buy them.
In tons,
yes, yes,
in
you
the
buy
measurement,
them.
right.
Yes. Now, he was writing an article. He now compare it with the amount they buy it overseas. The difference is quite much. So there was a bitter complaint that if Coca-Cola Nigeria can be buying those
the
used can for this penny, and when they go to overseas, when the same people pick it over there, they will buy it in so amount of dollar. It's quite unfair. So women we pick thousands of bottle
and after they make as much as they would have made.
Yes, they will not make up to $1 or $5 if they pick maybe 100, 200, 500, but over there you pick some quantity, you're giving $1, 2 cents, 5 cents. When you convert it to naira, you see that it's become a big amount of money. But when you pick thousands of these PET bottles and you see,
so
they
why do you
give
think
them.
that is? Why do you think that is that because there's no proper policy to ensure that there is proper remuneration for these people who engage in the skills?
Yes, you're right. I think there is no regulations, and these companies their liberty to do
as it
pleases them. Like there should be a measure or a guideline that yes, this is the best practices. This is the international standard of doing this. If 1 kg or tons of so bottle is sold $20 in UK, it should be sold $20 in Nigeria, in its equivalent in Nigeria, because it's the same bottle they are using. This will make it more viable. You see more people going into it. You know, when you see bottle on this, all those Coca-Cola bottles, reusable bottles, you pick them. You know that it will give you money.
To money, yeah.
Yeah, but because it's not viable for now, before you can make up to 5,000 picking bottle, you know, the large quantity you will pick. So many people don't go into it because it has not been very viable. So the more regulations, the more policies, the more the government looking to it, you know, liaising with the all those companies that produce them, giving them the standard price to say, you see that people will be eager to go into it and it will become very viable.
Okay, well, at this point, we'll just go for a short break. When we return, we'll be setting agenda for this new administration. What are those innovative technologies that government can also contribute in ensuring green skills thrive, especially because of the environmental degradation we are already seeing? I mean, we read about the flood projection in 2023 that was released. We'll be back to discuss more. This is still Joy Asonye Live. We'll be right back. Welcome back from that short break. Like I said earlier, we're discussing achieving green skills in Nigeria, and we have in the studio Mr. Igweshi Augustine. He's the Executive Director, Center for Peace, Advocacy and Sustainable Development, also the convener of the Nigerian Youth Summit. Also in the studio with me is Comrade Alamboye, President, Green Assembly Initiative, and former National Secretary of the Nigerian Youth Organization. So I think I'll just take it to Comrade Alamboye at the moment. We have a new president, we have a new administration, one that is just about to set up its cabinet. And we're talking about green skills, we're talking about a sustainable world, we're talking about going back to the sustainable development goals. And he just mentioned way before the break that there are innovative ways that we could recycle. We're just talking about recycling, and there are several other chains we could go to, but let's just stick to recycling. How should we start this advocacy, considering that very often we try and we don't see success?
The green skill innovation have existed. I remembered while we were small in school, we are tasked to come with artificial manure. And what's artificial manure made of?
Dung
and a mixture of dung and a kind of sand. We mix it and come, and then it becomes manure. That's a typical example of green skills. Converting those waste, supposed waste, making it more useful.
Exactly.
Because science taught us that when dung product grows on dungs or seeds or whatever, it grows faster.
Like organic fertilizers.
You have to identify, first of all, the process. You have to identify those wastes and what they can produce. So this is where it starts. Government must be deliberate to allow or give space, sponsor researches. People must go into research, even though in advanced countries they are there. You can just Google and get them. Is this government ready to empower youths?
You can't ask
the level of
that.
empowerment is rhetorical. Yeah, is this government? I'm asking myself, are they ready to shift the level of incompetency, the level of low skill acquisition, the level of unproductivity of the Nigerian youth is this government ready? If they believe that the youths are the future of tomorrow, are they ready to also bring youths out of this level to a more standard level? If that is the case, if this government is ready to do that, I can assure you that the green skill acquisition process is one of the things that they should embrace without wasting time. As ministers spring on board, they should collectively, it encompasses the Minister of Youth, the Minister of Environment, the Minister of Information, for disseminating these informations around Nigerian youths, and so many ministries that will be concerned. If this government is very deliberate in doing that, the first step is to give rise to the advocacy that youths must be at a position themselves the way they call on youths to attend school or to go to school. Comrade, they should be able to say those ones that are not having the capacity, or those that are interested, willing and able to acquire green skills. Government should open portals where Nigerian youths can register, Nigerian youths can show interest, give the varieties in the production, in the oil and gas production level. There are green skills acquisitions there. In the production level, there are also green skills that they can acquire. In consumption, even in consumption, where you've used, you finish using your earrings, you finish using clothes, they can be recycled to get other things. So in every strata in the economy, where consumption ends, you can see another revelation, which is the green skill acquisition. So instead of disposing so many things, in the oil and gas sector, where I come from, when oil and crude have been extracted, you see boys going into doing refined, what they call kerosene. But what happens to when they are done with the crude, they extract kerosene? We will still have good content. So the ability for government to say no, instead of using this to pollute the environment, they can still either return it back, or there are still other processes they can get out of it. What about woods? Instead of allowing woods to decay, there's a process that you turn them to, and they can be used to produce exercise books. So these are great. There are so many. But can government be deliberate to say they want to open industries for these greener skills to be acquired? That is the billion-dollar question. I can tell you for free that for today, we don't know the minds of this government that is in power. We are still watching to see how the Tinubu's administration will reform, will engage Nigerian youths. And if we are to recommend, which we are going to do, we are only waiting for ministers to come on board. We will still have more of the summit. We are in the summit, and we spoke a lot about greener skills. We spoke a lot about opportunities government can lash in. One problem we have is, like you rightly said, is implementation. You do all of this, you visit the ministry, you do all this submission, budget comes out year in, year out, they channel it to football, people to go and watch football, people to go and play football, and that is where sports that is not not viable enough to sustain the larger part of Nigerian youth. So we want to preach this time around that in 4 years, if they are deliberate to pursue green skills, we think that lots of Nigerian youth will be self-sufficient. Lots of Nigerian youth will revolve around what the world is saying. So most of Nigerian youths will be capable to grow the economy in terms of GDP in their own level, save, employ, and sustain themselves.
Okay, what would be your response? You have to help in setting the agenda for this administration, especially when we are talking about 40.6% youth unemployment. That's a report that was released huge in April. Yes. That's by the KPMG. So what would you say in terms of setting an agenda for this administration, latching into the potentials in green skills? What would be your advice?
Okay, you just mentioned something about the unemployment rate in Nigeria is very, very alarming. Nigeria is currently the second in the world. With a green skill revolution, I think government can help reduce that unemployment rate with actually, being deliberate, as my fellow colleague have said, being very deliberate and intentional about green skill revolutions. So it's all about, I think for me, I would advise the government to set up industries that will ensure that, that enhance effective, the things that can be reused. Young people can develop skills in them. So I think first step is first empowering the youth with the green skills. So once the government and other agencies, this is not going to be government alone, and young people too should be deliberate by themselves, offering themselves to learn those skills. So learning the skill, learning the green skills is one step, and also setting up platform conversations for young people to even understand, because majorly some young people don't understand what green skills are about. The first step is to understand what skills is about, develop policies that guide them, and implement those policies, full implementation of policies that will enhance green skill revolution in Nigeria. And through that, there are a lot of industrial process that can take effect, like setting up a recycling plant
right
in each of the state or geopolitical zone, maybe where young people can go learn, then get employed, they work in transforming so many reusable products. You understand? So through this process, I think the rate of unemployment will reduce. Yeah, green skill revolution can help actually, reduce the rate of unemployment in Nigeria if government are deliberate and young people as well offer themselves to to learn those skills, and as well give out. I know they have so many potentials in Nigeria. Young people are very talented, they are very innovative. Once you give them the platform or you give them the space to move, they move faster and they learn faster and they contribute a lot. They are very passionate about green society, green Nigeria. What they needed is platform. What they needed is that enabling environment to do those things they want to do. Support. Young people need support. Once government offer them the needed support they need, they will definitely contribute a lot, and it will help reduce the rate of unemployment in Nigeria.
Comrade Alamboye, what do you think the Nigerian youth is craving for? You don't have to be within that umbrella of green skills, but if you have to just mention what the Nigerian youth expects from this administration, where would you be? What would you say,
yes,
rather?
every youth, the most important dream for every youth is to go to the university, graduate. And so many years ago, we've seen graduates rolled out of universities without job. So I can tell you today, so many Nigerian youths have picked up the ICTC employment, self-employment. So, and it is helping. So many of them are doing a lot of things with in the cyberspace. So I think Nigerian youths wants to be self-sufficient. They've lost hopes in jobs, white-collar jobs provided by government. They've lost hope in parliamentary jobs, or what they call civil service jobs. And the only sustainable, the only open space is for them to be self-sufficient. Most times, in as much as I don't agree to people that use that resort to violence or kidnapping or whatever, I think it's one open ways for Nigeria. So if they can come up seriously, this government can come up seriously to say their direction is empowering the youth on skills. There's a lot of innovations in skills, a whole lot of innovation in skills. Do you know you can do poultry, which is the skill of its own? Do you know the products, the waste products of poultry? None is wasteful. If we can do research, if this government can be very, very positioned to say this is what we want a particular set of people to do and come and learn it. The way people in those days, people went into learning shoemaking, hairdressing. Those were the skills that came up years back. Hairdressing, shoemaking, cobblers, shoe repairs, etc. These days, it is moving into green skills, and there's a lot that can be done in green skills. I am not going to sit down here to say Nigerian youths are not available. They are very, very much available. Every day, people are looking for what to do for sustainability, and this is the direction of green skills. They said for a sustainable world, meaning the UN had known that when you acquire green skills, you only begin to expand yourself from self-sufficiency. You begin to also be unemployed. You begin to also employ. You begin to also earn. You begin to also save. This is the direction it is going. So we are urging Nigerian youth. We're going to remain in that advocacy to talk to Nigerian youths, meet them at various points in time to tell them how it is needed, how needful green skills is, and the importance of green skills to the Nigerian youth. We will also be talking to our colleagues. One major problem is how to assess the instrumentations for green skills. This is where government must come in with their policy, their enforcement, so that it can be viable. People can see that, look, I'm not going to take a look at somebody visiting a poultry, trying to take the chaffs of egg. You know, it can be, it can be recycled, the shells. It can be recycled for other products. And if that gesture is not viable, it becomes uninteresting rather, and the motivation will not be there. But this is what they are speaking. Making it sustainable means making it have value. There should be checkmates on cost. There should be checkmates on the process, so that it becomes an earning product. Hence, giving a riser for interest of youths. So many youths begin to have interest in rolling out themselves to do green skills. So it's two ways. Youths are well positioned in the country to do that. What is the advocacy? What is government interest to ensure that as many as these green skills are, they usher them out? In those days, oil companies train people on skills. So this is
as part of their CSR.
Yeah, as part of their CSR, exactly. So this I just want to see. Government comes out in local government, state government comes out, gets a percentage of its youth populace, train them. That's why today you see, in those days when your umbrella spoil, you don't throw it away. The cobbler is there, umbrella cobbler is there. He goes, he has the skills. Today your umbrella spoil, you throw it away. You buy a new one. So we think we have to be systematic about this. We have to be deliberate in policy, in execution, and follow up, and see how Nigerian youth can come together to say green skills are not underdogs. They are not underproducts. They are standard products on their own. They have an end use. They have its end importance, and is payable, is sustainable, is employable. So we must talk to governments. I'm assuring you that with what we have in our constituency, with other youth organizations put together, we are waiting for the minister to come. This is the area we want them to go. Other than using the money that comes to the Ministry of Youth and Sports for sports alone, we want them to see how they can use those money internally. Even the sports we are talking about, we are no more seeing the President Cup. I can't remember when I heard about the presidential cup or Governor's Cup. So I don't see why monies that are appropriated to the Ministry of Youth is sent down to countries for football competitions, people going to watch football. No,
but
that ministry. There's also one other advocacy that we're trying to come up with. We want to see how we can preach and plead with the present government. We want to see if, in case our plea will be heard, we want this Minister of Sports and Youth to be separated. It's really costing the Nigerian youth to get access to the ministry, right? Because when you go to the ministry, all you see is youth in sports. Actually, so many things they do is youth in sports. In your program, I had the opportunity to meet with the director for training, and when she gave her presentation, I was tempted.
The Ministry of Youth and Sports.
Yes, she attended the seminar, the summit on the 11th, and I was tempted to criticize what she was saying on the podium, but I had a tete-a-tete with her, and it's almost like fraud, because the programs, like you rightly said, they are there, they know, they are aware. The ability and to enforce them, to bring them to being, is the problem we have. They bring out so many billions of nairas, claim that it is for training of youths to acquire several skills, but at the end of the day, the samples youths, pay them stipends, make them feel as if they are trained, and because of poverty and ignorance, you see these youths walk away with it. So if there is lots of advocacy, and you ask me that 2 weeks and to go and learn a green skill, and I go there, I don't even see, I go into a hall, I sit down, we only see resource people talking. I'll say, no, we need practical, because we already are aware that we have come here to acquire a green skill, and green skills are not acquired, they are not theoretical, they are practical things you have to do to showcase and learn and improve, go back on your own, empowered, and get improvement on it. So these are the areas that is worrisome. These are the areas that will truncate the essence of achieving green skills, where our leaders, our mentors in positions would not allow these things to have its effects.
Okay, we don't have much time any longer. Comrade Duke seems to have gobbled it all of our time. But if you have to talk about how the government can help the Nigerian youth. He went back into the green skills, but I'm just talking generally now as we're running out. But before you respond, I must congratulate you. Your Nigerian Youth Summit was such a success.
Thank you.
I know we talked about, or rather, the resource persons addressed and engaged with youth about all the many challenges Nigerian youth face. But if you have to, from the lessons you learned from your own event.
Joy, before he also answers, let me also use the opportunity to also thank him for appreciating at least. It's good that we've done a lot, and that the organization came up to recognize.
Yes, I know. Comrade Duke was a recipient of your award. So congratulations, Comrade Duke, and congratulations on the success of your event.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I think for me, I work with so many youth, and the major issue they face is the high rate of unemployment. So they face majorly getting things to do and all of that. So like I said earlier, government leveraging on the revolution of green skill to empower the youth will be a very good one, because making it viable, there's a way government can put up policies and program so that it will become attractive. Once it becomes attractive, you see that young people begin to go into it. There are a lot of things that can be done in terms of making in terms of green skill. It's not it does not end on just recycling. There are a lot of things that can be done to make our society Nigeria greener. So I think first there's need to empower them, because these skills, this green skill is something that is coming up of more recent. So many people are not aware, especially those in the rural area. You can say that most youth in the city have come to know about green skills and all of that. So but there's need to take it down to the rural areas for youth in the rural areas to understand what green skills are and be able to utilize them and make ends meet with them. So if you look at so many things in the rural area, people steal trash cans, use leather, dump them. They don't know that they can gather these things and make money with them and all of that. Once they have that knowledge, you see that it will even reduce crime. You see that I can be busy picking up. Okay, there's what they used to do before, if you know about Panteka. Panteka. If Panteka can be revolutionized, like make it
more technical.
But in the Western world, they have what they call the fleet stores.
Okay.
They have yard sales. Yard sales just consist of, I have things in my yard that in my home I don't want to use any longer. So I do a sale and people come buy those things. So why is it that when it comes to Nigeria, we make it a Panteka thing? And I was speaking earlier about green skills and the scavengers. I know that we have some security issues around scavenging, and governments across Nigeria are banning the whole idea of scavenging. But that's a very viable one. Very viable one.
I think you're right, and if our government can look at it and try to, regulate, not kind of put it in a way that it will become standardized. Yes, because those guys actually contribute a lot of
people. Yes, you now have the bio waste aside, the plastic is aside, the industrial waste is aside. They are the ones who get dirty. They get their hands dirty.
Because if you go to where they are building houses or where they are renovating houses, you see them come pick up those items there. But normally, if they are not there, those will contribute to environmental issues. Yes, so those guys pick up this issue, these items, and they sell them, or some persons have become millionaires with that because they gather those ions, gather them, plenty of them, and they load it on a truck. If you see those 16-tire truck, if you load one 15-tire, 16-tire truck, you sell it into a millions of naira. So if that can see how not just the ions, the plastic, but other reusable
right.
items that can, contribute. See young people doing them, and not just, they believe that those people, scavengers, pantakers, they are criminal. They come,
We've also heard about that, and that
no, they believe that
they are often trying to look around for
pick
for
up,
places to
but there's a way it can be standardized and regulated. You see some, just like you said, in the Western world, you have something you yourself in your home, items that you see, you can be putting them aside. Some persons know that now once I put up this items as in one place, when you get to this quantity, I can sell it to this amount. The person will be, if it becomes lucrative, you see so many people become very intentional and conscious of the items, putting them one side that if this thing gets to this quantity, I will make this such amount of money. People will become intentional about it and begin to, something become viable.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Igweshi Augustine, Executive Director, Center for Peace, Advocacy and Sustainable Development. We also had Comrade Duke Alamboye, President, Green Assembly Initiative, and the former National Secretary of the Nigerian Youth Organization. Gentlemen, it was wonderful to have you join us as we talk about the International Youth Day, especially how Nigerians can achieve green skills. Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
This is where we draw the curtains on Joy Asonye Live today. Rest assured, we'll be back tomorrow with so much more. So do have a wonderful evening, and thanks for being part of the program.